Hello, I'm Alex Raikes. I'm the Safer Bristol rep for Voscur, and I'm reporting back on the latest two meetings for Safer Bristol, the Safer Bristol Executive meeting of the 28th of January and the Safer Bristol Community Safety Joint Commissioning Group meeting of the 2nd of February. There are quite a few common themes in both meetings. Obviously, Safer Bristol Executive looks at things from a more strategic point of view and overarching issues for Safer Bristol. The key issues that I suppose are useful to share. One is that it's now been formally approved that alcohol, the work around alcohol will come under Safer Bristol now, and that was already in discussion, but now it's been formally approved, and they're going to amend the partnership agreement and the terms of reference of Safer Bristol to include alcohol. Obviously, that's going to be quite interesting. There's going to be a lot more work coming onto Safer Bristol, more funding, and a lot more services, and it should also lead to more joined up working and hopefully more joined up knowledge between those working around the issue of alcohol and those working in other areas, for example drugs and crime. And that we suspect there'll be a lot of links between the two, and it should benefit work quite a lot there. Also, probation are formally coming on board and joining Safer Bristol, so the terms of reference will be amended to include them as well, and the probation representative has now started to attend Safer Bristol meetings. There's been a lot of reports back on performance data, crime performance data, and I guess overall the key message is that crime for Bristol in general and overall is coming down. This mirrors other areas in the country overall, that crime in general, according to data, appears to be coming down in most areas. And Bristol is gradually becoming, if you like, higher up in its benchmarking cities, lower. It's actually, we're seeing less crime as a city against comparable cities, so that's good. Issues that are still of concern to Bristol, that's coming out of all the meetings for Safe Bristol at the moment. One is not violent crime, that's going down, but the less violent crime seems to be going up a bit. Not hugely, but it is of concern, and Safer Bristol has said that they're going to look more into the profile of the victims of these less violent crimes, perpetrators, where's it happening, try to get to the bottom of what's behind this data. ASB is a key theme at the moment, and Safer Bristol have said it's their priority issue for this year, and I think they want to take that into next financial year as well. And so they're doing a lot of targeted work around how can they improve Bristol's performance around ASB. What they found is that ASB is the top issue for the public. In all perception surveys, it's coming up as the top issue for most neighbourhoods. It's also leading to an inordinate number of reports of incidents to the police and also to other agencies. There's been a big ASB review, which I did talk to you about last time. That's happened, that review, and there's an action plan that's come out of it. And I guess the most important action for you to know is that they're going to be co-locating key agencies that work around ASB together in one building. The police, ASB leads, the housing, Bristol City Council, ASB leads. They're going to come together under one roof. They want to centralise them as a team, get them working together, get them learning from each other, and then once they're working well together, they want to actually move out co-located teams to the neighbourhoods. So that's going to be quite interesting. I certainly raised that they need to make sure they link in with housing association, antisocial behaviour teams and officers, because obviously they are more and more becoming our local housing provider, and we need to make sure they're part of this joined up process. There was report backs on, for example, building the bridge, the prevent strategy, just to say is seen as a model of excellent practice for the country, and it's progressing very well as a strategy. The action plans around it are progressing well, and apparently there's a really successful and effective partnership that works to make sure the prevent strategy is delivered, and they're working particularly well together compared to many other cities. There was feedback to Safer Bristol of Bristol Partnership and the 2020 plan that's being developed at the moment. I think a major concern is that there is a general worry that crime and community safety is coming down the agenda for Bristol Partnership, and it doesn't feature highly enough in the 2020 plan, or doesn't seem to be high enough on the agenda. And there was a general worry that because Bristol's now kind of come off the radar nationally as a city that's, if you like, seen as one of the most dangerous cities in the country, and we're now a bit more average in how what's happening with crime, there's a worry that it's not seen as so important. We want it not to be forgotten as a massive issue for the city. It's very things can turn around very, very quickly again. There's new services coming onto Safer Bristol, trading standards, noise pollution and street scene. So again, these are very linked services as far as crime and community safety is concerned. We hope that will lead to better joined up working. There's a worrying concern that after the Pilkington case, which is Fiona Pilkington, who I think took her and her daughter's life due to antisocial behaviour, and it reached national news. There were 6 reports of local disabled people in Bristol saying that they felt that they could take their own lives, and that has been looked into by Safer Bristol, and certainly I raised that needed to be looked into in great detail to make sure and find out why people were feeling that way in the city. There was an update around the communications and marketing strategy of Safer Bristol. They've focused funding and a lot of work around that in the last year or so to try and really up the local awareness of Safer Bristol and its activities. And they did actually appoint a consultant, Brandon Hill, who drafted a strategy and an action plan and done a lot of work around branding Safer Bristol and promoting its image. And they're now going to stop that contract as it's got most of the communications underway for the partnership. But they've taken on a new communications officer lead, Vicky O'Loughlin, who's going to work on that on a longer term basis. There has been, I think I reported back last time, there was one of their major concerns around performance data was around the outcomes associated with drugs and work with drugs issues, and there was a real problem because the database that data is put onto was proven to be ineffective. Financially, there was a report on finances of Safer Bristol at the Community Safety Joint Commissioning Working Group. I think that's the right term for it. And basically, Safer Bristol's looking to be okay for the coming financial year. I think there's a lot of worries about 2011 to 12. It looks like the BCU funding and SSC funding, which is quite a mainstream that comes in from central government, that there was some concern that it was going to go to the police authority to administer it, but it's going to stay with Safer Bristol to manage that funding, which is quite positive. Otherwise, the other key issue that was discussed was they're piloting a new way of managing offenders of antisocial behaviour in certain neighbourhoods in Bristol, where they're focusing very much on, rather than focusing on the crime, they're focusing on the actual perpetrator of the ASB, and again trying to get a multi-agency approach to dealing with that individual, and that's apparently been quite effective. Voscur did theme criminal justice in its recent assembly in January, and looked at how could they improve and increase partnership working between all the criminal justice agencies, both statutory and voluntary. It was a very successful event, and we're looking to bring those partners together again, maybe with a view to it becoming a longer term partnership in April. So look out for that and do attend if you can. Thank you.